Okay, so you're getting ready for a Zoo Educator interview,
That's exciting.
and we're here to help you really stand out from all those other candidates.
We've got this stack of RoleCatcher resources.
And trust me, they are packed with insights to help you ace this interview.
Yeah, it's awesome that you love animals.
Of course.
But to nail this interview, you really need to show them that you can teach,
Inspire.
advocate for conservation.
Become a champion for all those animals.
Exactly. They're looking for someone who can connect with all kinds of visitors.
Like a bustle of kindergartners.
Or a group of adults and make learning about animals fun and meaningful.
Yeah, and that's where these RoleCatcher resources really come in.
Yeah, we're going to unpack some common interview questions.
We'll sprinkle in some career insights from their guides.
And we'll even explore how their AI can help you craft some really strong answers.
It's like having your own personal coach in your corner.
Helping you fine-tune your approach for that specific zoo and that specific role.
I love that analogy.
Okay.
Okay, are you ready to tackle those questions?
Let's do it.
All right, let's start with the classic. What inspired you to pursue a career as a zoo educator?
This is a good one.
Now, this isn't just about listing your biology degree.
Or your volunteer experience.
Right.
It's your chance to tell your story.
Oh, I like that.
What made you fall in love with animals?
And sharing that passion with others.
Was there a specific moment, maybe a childhood trip to the zoo?
That ignited that fire.
Yeah, I bet you have a good one.
I think we all do.
Did a certain animal or exhibit just totally captivate you?
Maybe a conservation effort really resonated with you?
Yeah, they want to see that genuine enthusiasm.
And what drives you?
Yeah, and here's where you can connect your story to the specific zoo that you're interviewing for.
That's smart.
Did they have a program or an exhibit that really inspired you?
Like, you really want to work there.
Mentioning that shows that you've done your research.
That your interest is genuine.
It's like you're showing them that you're not just applying to any zoo.
Yeah.
You're passionate about their mission and what they do.
I love that. Okay, let's say they follow up with something like, that's a fantastic story.
Mm-hmm.
How has that inspiration shaped your approach to educating others about animals? How would you answer that?
Okay, well, this is where you're going to showcase how that passion translates into action.
Okay, I like that.
Think about your experiences. Have you volunteered at a nature center?
Led school groups?
Maybe you even taught your younger sibling about bugs in the backyard.
Oh, that totally counts.
Share how you've tailored your approach to different age groups.
Learning styles.
Yeah, maybe you use games and hands-on activities for kids.
Designed more in-depth presentations for adults.
And don't forget to highlight the importance of accessibility.
Oh, that's a good point.
How would you make sure that your programs are inclusive for visitors with disabilities?
So think about things like visual aids.
Sensory-friendly activities.
Or even incorporating sign language.
Zoos are all about creating a welcoming environment for everyone.
Right. Speaking of creating welcoming environments, let's move on to question number 2. How do you plan and develop educational programs for diverse audiences?
Right.
Now, RoleCatcher really emphasizes the need to go beyond the basics here.
Yeah, you've got to get creative.
Be flexible.
So imagine you're tasked with creating a program about rainforest conservation.
Okay.
How would you make that engaging for both a group of really energetic 8-year-olds?
And a group of adults.
Ooh, that's a good challenge.
Okay, for those 8-year-olds, I would definitely incorporate interactive games.
Love it.
Maybe a scavenger hunt through the rainforest exhibit.
Perfect.
And then for the adults, I could design a presentation with stunning visuals.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe incorporate a Q&A session with a conservation expert.
You're showing that you can tailor your approach to different needs and interests.
Right. And don't forget, technology is becoming so important in zoo education these days.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. I almost forgot.
I know, me too.
Mentioning things like virtual reality tours or interactive displays shows that you are forward-thinking.
And that you understand how technology can enhance the visitor experience.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's say the interviewer follows up with something like, that's a great start. How would you ensure those programs are not only fun, but also educational? How do you measure their effectiveness?
Ooh, that's a big one.
Yeah, this is a crucial question.
You don't just want to entertain.
Right, you want visitors to walk away having learned something new and valuable.
Exactly. It's about demonstrating that you are data-driven.
Yes. You're not just delivering the program, you're evaluating its impact.
How would you do that?
You could talk about using surveys.
Feedback forms.
Or even just observing visitor engagement.
Are people asking questions?
Do they seem inspired?
Do they want to learn more?
And that's where RoleCatcher's AI can be a total game changer.
Oh, tell me more.
You can actually use their tools to practice your answers
Oh, wow.
and get feedback on how to make them even stronger.
So it analyzes your responses.
Yeah, and suggest ways to highlight those data-driven aspects that interviewers are looking for.
It's like having a personalized feedback loop to help you refine your approach.
Exactly. Okay, moving on to question number 3. Tell me about a time you had to work with a team to accomplish a goal. What role did you play?
Ah, the teamwork question.
Fantastic.
Zoos are all about collaboration.
They really are.
So think about your experiences, maybe group projects in school,
Volunteering.
even something like organizing a family event.
Yeah, anything where you had to work together with others.
They want to see how you interact with others.
How you contribute to a shared objective.
Right, and don't just focus on your individual tasks.
That's a good point.
Like I did this and I did that.
Talk about how you communicated with your team
how you resolved conflicts.
and how you celebrated those successes together.
Yeah, because zoos are like these intricate ecosystems.
And every department needs to work together seamlessly.
It's a beautiful analogy.
So they might follow up with, how would you apply that teamwork experience to the role of a zoo educator?
Oh, so how do you bridge that gap?
Between your past experiences and the specific demands of this job.
And that's a great segue to RoleCatcher's Career Guide,
Yes, it actually emphasizes the importance of collaborating with other departments
especially animal care.
to make sure that the well-being of those animals always comes first.
So it's not just about saying I'm a team player. It's about demonstrating how that collaborative spirit aligns with the zoo's mission.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about your passion for animals,
Your experience working on teams.
your data-driven approach to education.
I think it's time to talk about staying up to date.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
All right, question number 4. How do you stay up to date on new trends and developments in the field of zoo education?
Yeah, this is where you get to showcase your passion for being a lifelong learner.
You're not just content with what you already know.
You're always looking for new information and approaches.
You want to be the best zoo educator you can be.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you stay in the loop?
Are you a podcast fan like us?
Maybe you devour books and articles about animal behavior and conservation.
Or maybe you go to conferences and webinars.
All great examples, and you can mention specific organizations that you follow.
Yeah, like the American Association of Zookeepers.
Or the Association of Zoos and Aquariums.
And here's a pro tip from RoleCatcher's Career Guide.
Ooh, tell me.
Highlighting certifications like the Certified Interpretive Guide can really boost your resume.
So it shows a dedication to professional development.
Exactly. You're not just interested in the job.
You're invested in a long-term career in zoo education.
Right. So imagine the interviewer probes a little deeper and says, "That's impressive. Can you give me a specific example of a recent trend or development in zoo education that you found particularly interesting?"
Okay, so now's the time to bring those abstract concepts to life.
Exactly. Did you read an article about using technology to create more immersive exhibits?
Or maybe you learned about a new way to teach conservation to younger audiences.
It's about showing them you're not just passively absorbing information.
You're thinking about how to actually apply it to your work.
And you know what? This ties back perfectly to RoleCatcher's AI.
Really have that.
You can use their platform to research industry trends
Oh, that's cool.
and tailor your answers to align with a specific zoo's initiatives.
It's like having a personalized research assistant.
It's helping you connect the dots between what you know and what that zoo cares about.
Okay, I like that. Are you ready to dive into some trickier questions?
Yeah, let's get into those scenario-based questions.
Bring on the challenge.
Okay, so question number 5. Imagine you're leading a group of visitors through the primate exhibit, and one visitor starts banging on the glass and making loud noises trying to get the gorilla's attention. How would you handle that?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It's all about finding that balance between visitor engagement and animal welfare.
Right, so you can't upset the animals, but you also don't upset the visitors.
Exactly. So the first thing you should do is calmly and politely address that visitor.
Explain that their behavior could be stressful for the animals.
And you know what RoleCatcher sample answers really come in handy here?
They do.
They emphasize the importance of setting clear boundaries while still maintaining a positive visitor experience.
Okay, so how would you do that?
Maybe you could redirect the visitor's attention to a nearby enrichment activity.
Oh, that's good.
Or maybe explain how gorillas communicate in the wild.
So you're kind of turning a negative situation into a learning opportunity?
Exactly. And if the visitor continues to be disruptive,
Then what?
then you need to involve other staff members.
Like security.
Or a supervisor. You don't want to put yourself or the animals at risk.
Right, that makes sense. Okay, let's move on to question number 6. How would you incorporate conservation messaging into your educational programs in a way that is both engaging and impactful for visitors of all ages,
Now, this question goes to the heart of what zoos are all about.
inspiring people to care about animals and the environment.
It's not just about sharing cool facts.
You want to connect those facts to the bigger picture of conservation.
Right, so think about how you can weave conservation messages into your programs creatively.
Maybe tell a story about an endangered species?
Highlight the zoo's own conservation initiatives.
Or even encourage visitors to take action in their own lives.
I love that storytelling. It's so powerful.
It connects with people emotionally.
And RoleCatcher provides some really good examples of how to do this effectively.
Oh,
They
perfect.
talk about tailoring your message to your audience.
So for young kids, you might use puppets
Or song.
to get simple concepts across.
For teenagers, maybe focus on how climate change is impacting wildlife.
And for adults, you could talk about conservation policy or highlight the work of organizations like the World Wildlife Fund.
Exactly. Meet people where they are and spark their curiosity.
I like that.
So the interviewer might say, "That's a great overview. Can you give me a specific example of how you would weave a conservation message into a program about, let's say, African elephants?"
Okay, African elephants. Let me think.
Take your time.
I could start by talking about the social behavior of elephants,
Their intelligence.
their complex family structures.
Perfect. And then
And then I could transition to talking about the threats they're facing in the wild, like habitat loss and poaching for ivory,
you can even tie it back to the zoo's own efforts to protect elephants.
whether that's breeding programs,
Research.
supporting anti-poaching initiatives.
It shows visitors how their visit to the zoo directly contributes to conservation.
Makes it more tangible, you know.
Okay, let's tackle another challenging question. How do you adapt your educational programs to meet the needs of visitors with disabilities or special needs?
Now, this one is so important.
It really is.
It highlights inclusivity and accessibility.
Every visitor deserves to have a positive and enriching experience at the zoo.
Absolutely. So how would you make sure your programs are accessible to people with different needs?
You could think about incorporating visual aids,
Sign language interpreters,
sensory-friendly experiences.
or even creating things like audio tours.
And RoleCatcher reminds us that it's so important to be proactive.
Ask visitors if they have any specific needs or requests.
You're creating a welcoming environment where everyone feels comfortable asking for what they need.
Right. You don't want to assume you know what someone needs.
It's always best to ask and be prepared to adjust your program on the fly.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so let's say they follow up with, "That's great. Can you give me an example of how you would adapt a program for a visitor who is visually impaired?"
Ooh, okay. I like this one.
Okay, so let's say we're leading a tour of the reptile house.
All right.
You could offer a tactile experience by letting them touch a snake's shed skin
Oh, that's good.
or the shell of a tortoise,
Yeah, and you can provide really detailed descriptions.
of the animal's appearance,
Their behavior,
their habitat,
you're engaging all their other senses.
creating a multi-sensory experience that's both engaging and informative.
Exactly, you're thinking outside the box.
Finding ways to make those programs accessible to absolutely everyone.
Are you ready for the final question?
Hit me with it.
How do you measure the impact of your conservation education efforts on both local and global communities?
Whoa, that sounds intense.
I know it seems a little daunting, but it's about demonstrating that you're thinking beyond just that immediate visitor experience.
Right. Zoo education has the power to create real change.
Ripples that extend far beyond the zoo walls.
Okay, so how would you measure those ripples?
Think about how you would collect data
Analyze it.
to really prove the effectiveness of your programs.
So maybe you track visitor behavior changes,
Like an increase in recycling.
a decrease in single-use plastics,
You could even assess knowledge retention.
like with quizzes
Or survey.
before and after the program.
Exactly, and RoleCatcher's AI can help you research those metrics
Oh, cool.
and tailor your answers to match the specific zoo's achievements
You can connect your work to their larger conservation initiatives.
and show that you understand their impact.
It's like you're not just applying for a job, you're envisioning yourself as part of their team contributing to their mission.
Precisely. Now, before we wrap up our deep dive into Zoo Educator interview prep, I want to emphasize one more crucial element.
Okay, I'm listening. What is it?
It's enthusiasm. It's
Yeah.
like the secret ingredient.
That brings all your knowledge and experience to life.
You're talking about these amazing animals and incredible stories,
You're inspiring people to care about the natural world.
Let that excitement shine through.
Smile, make eye contact.
Let your passion for animals and conservation be your guiding light.
Because you're not just interviewing for a job.
Right, you're interviewing for a chance to make a real difference.
Okay, we've covered so much today.
We talked about those common interview questions.
We dug into those valuable RoleCatcher resources.
And we even tapped into the power of their AI to help you craft those really strong answers.
But before we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with one final thought.
Something to really think about as you embark on this amazing career journey.
How do you see the role of zoos evolving in the future?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Zoos are facing new challenges.
New opportunities,
Climate change
advancements in animal care.
and technology.
How will all these factors change the way we educate and inspire future generations?
That's a big question for sure.
And as a future zoo educator, you'll have the chance to help shape that evolution.
Wow, so how can we use technology to create more immersive and engaging learning experiences?
How can we do a better job of connecting visitors with those real-world conservation efforts that are happening all over the planet?
And how can we make sure that zoos keep playing a vital role in protecting those endangered species and really inspiring that love for the natural world?
These are questions every aspiring zoo educator should be thinking about.
Absolutely. So as you get ready for those interviews, think about how your unique skills and passions can contribute to the future of zoos.
It's not just about getting the job, it's about joining a movement.
A community of passionate individuals dedicated to making a real difference.
And with that, we'll wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive.
We hope you found it helpful and inspiring.
Good luck with your interviews.
We can't wait to see you making waves in the world of zoos.